Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I just want to thank all my old subscribers and welcome my new subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. So I'm always trying to find ways to prep smarter and not harder. So usually I would wait until I gather several different items. Before I say vacuum seal, I will gather some oats, some pasta, some hash browns, different things until I have enough where I think I can fill a couple of 5-gallon buckets. Instead of doing one at a time or two at a time, I'll do maybe like 5 or 6 at a time. So I find that doing it that way saves me a lot of time and energy and frustration, and I call it prepping smarter, not harder. And I'm also one to add diversity to my preps. So I usually make everything from scratch, but I've decided here in recent months to add these pre-made, pre-packaged muffins to my preps. So I picked up a good variety of the different kinds that they make. This one is apple cinnamon, so this one only takes milk. So I'm going to add some dry milk powder to it so it becomes a just add water, which is a lot better than trying to find milk in a SHTF situation. So I figure out how much powder I need for how much milk needs to go into the package. And what I'm going to do is just use my kitchen scale to measure out what I need, and then I'm going to just simply add it to my pre-packaged muffin mixes. And what I saw previously in videos, they actually dumped it out into a Ziploc bag and went that route with it. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually just going to cut a slit into the bag itself, just long enough or wide enough in order to get my funnel in there, and just pour the dry milk powder into the bag that it comes in. I'm not gonna take it out and put it in another bag to vacuum seal it. I'm just gonna put it right here in the bag that it comes in. I'm just gonna drop the dry milk in here and then just make sure it sort of mixed in. Not gonna really mix it in. I'm just gonna shake it around and temp it down a little bit, just so when I pour it out of the bag, when I go to make it, it is kind of incorporated, even though I'll mix it before I actually add the water that is needed. Now I'm going to just put it into a Ziploc bag, and then I'm going to make sure that I have the instructions that make it known that it just needs water, that the milk powder has already been added. So I'm just going to fold the bag over, and that's going to help me stop the contents from coming out when I go to Ziploc, or vacuum seal I should say, this bag. So I'm just going to put it on my vacuum sealer and seal it up once I put the instructions in it, and be done with it, and it will keep for a lot longer than it will if I just left it in the plastic bag as is. So now that it's all vacuum sealed and ready to go into my 5-gallon bucket, I put the instructions on the front to just add water, and you got the rest of the instructions on the back. I folded down the top and just minimal of the product came out when I vacuum sealed from the food. So I have a couple of other pre-packaged mixes as well. Here is a fudge brownie mix, and it calls for oil and eggs and water, and this one calls for also eggs and water. So what I'm going to do is use this egg replacement in there as well as the milk powder, and put the additional water content that it needs to make the egg on the directions. Okay, so now that I've got everything vacuum sealed and ready to go into the 5-gallon buckets, I do it this way because it's easier for me to store it and use it for my size family. I don't do a 5-gallon bucket of any like one big bag. I like to break it down into smaller bags, so when I go to use it, I can barter with it. I don't have to worry about separating it out at that point, because if HHTF happens, I don't want to have to deal with a 5-gallon bucket of anything and have to, portion it out at that point. I can go in, grab what I need, and put the lid back on. But when I was doing this, I like to leave it for a couple of days just to make sure my seals hold. And some of them in this particular batch held great. I did find a couple that wasn't quite held. They were kind of suspect, and I found actually 3 that were completely lost their seal. But as you can see, most of them are perfectly great. This was done 3 days ago. Actually, when I did it, I waited 3 days just to make sure my seals were holding. And as you can see, this is one of them that I found that the seal did not hold. So food fatigue is a real thing, and I want to pack my 5-gallon buckets differently. So I'm going to do a variety of different things within those buckets, all around the same, say like breakfast items and carbs. So I'm putting all my sort of breakfast items in one, and then I'm going to put my carbs in one, and I'm going to pack it that way. So this container, I have hash browns, there's pasta in here, there's oats in here. It's filled right up to the brim, and I'm going to put my 5-gallon buckets in as a variety of different products. So not just one product as I've been doing it in the past. I'm going to do several different products in that 5-gallon bucket. So when I go to open it, we're not eating the same thing day in and day out until we've used all that product. And I'm not having to open up several different 5-gallon buckets just to feed my family for, say, a month or, say, a couple of weeks or whatever the case may be. Because if you open up a 5-gallon bucket, you really want to use everything that's in there, because the food, once the air hits it, it's going to slowly start to degrade, and you want to use it as quickly as possible. So if I do a variety of different things, I think it will kind of interrupt that food fatigue and be better. So these are the packages I found that were not sealed, and as you can see, the seals broke on these. Most of them are instant mashed potatoes, there's a pasta, there's a grits. So 2 instant mashed potato, a grits, and the pasta. So I can either do one or two things: repackage it, vacuum seal it again, and put it in long-term storage, or I could put it in my working pantry. I'm probably gonna do that. Put it in my working pantry, perhaps. We'll see. I don't really need it in my working pantry at the moment, but I might go that route instead of repackaging. And then I just want to thank my subscriber that's made the suggestion of putting my bread flour into a Ziploc bag with the brown paper bag instead of putting it in my half-gallon jars. And as you can see, it is hard as a brick. So that saves me on half-gallon jars, because jars in my area are still hard to find. So I'm prepping smarter and not harder. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos.